welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name's Kai and this is Hot People Read. It's November and I thought it would be fun to do a winter themed TBR. I'm not really someone who is into monthly TBRs. I'm not really someone who can read a certain amount of books in a particular month. I feel like it sucks the joy of reading out of me. But I thought it would be fun to kind of give a more seasonal TBR instead. And something about winter just screams dark academia, especially November. November and dark academia just go so well together. I think it's because November, it's back to school season. You've had a couple of months of coming back to school, uni, whatever it is, and you find yourself in this routine, and it's just such an academic time. Most people have their exams around, I guess, the end of the year, so I guess it makes sense, kind of. But I'm done with school, but I love reading. So I thought it would be fun to go with dark academia for winter. Now, these are books that I plan to read from, I guess, now up until maybe end of Jan, early Feb. But I will be reading other books outside of this, but these are the books I plan to read within that time frame. And let's get started. I feel like there are many people's different interpretations of dark academia, and for this I'm of course specifically talking about the books. Dark academia is both an aesthetic, but people can turn it into a lifestyle if that's what they want. But just to get the correct definition of dark academia before I give my own personal spin, our most trusted site, Urban Dictionary, says dark academia is an aesthetic that is inspired by old and classic literature / philosophy, as well as themes of existentialism and death. It revolves around a dark color scheme, as the name implies, with hints of earthly tones as well, such as navy green, burgundy, cream, and brown beige, which is why I'm wearing a brown. I'm wearing brown trousers as well. Anyway, so the whole aesthetic is about looking like a wisecracking, pretentious scholar. So you'd usually see one wearing plaid or a suede dress pants, knitted turtlenecks, black belts, blazers, baggy overcoats, etc., etc. You usually find one lounging around in a used bookstore, reading old classics and writing poetry. And I guess that is the very essence of dark academia. And I just kind of wanted to clear that up because I've seen some things online that just didn't make sense for dark academia. And that's not to judge or to say this thing is that thing, but I feel like when it comes to aesthetics, there's a certain criteria and you can kind of bounce off that. And my understanding of dark academia is, again, old classic literature, love and romanticization of that area, but also the critique of it. And in terms of lifestyle and aesthetics, the browns, the old rusted vintage things, and if you really want to go deep into it, it's using, I guess, candle wax for your letters, writing with the feather ink pen thing, using a typewriter. And I just see it as the love of literature and making it fun, making it cool and interesting. I like that these aesthetics exist because for a lot of people, classic literature can feel so, I guess, limited and restricted to certain types of people. But when you have this aesthetic that everyone can join in, it makes it more accessible because you don't have to read the books. You can just dress the way, or you can have your room decorated in a certain way. So you can adopt these different classic ways of living without having to completely delve into it, which I think is great. But I wanted to kind of get that definition out of the way because I saw some things online when I was looking for dark academia books that just didn't make sense. Like, for example, Piranesi. Piranesi is not a dark academia book. It's just not. My understanding of dark academia books are school settings. That's the most important one. I mean, academia, whether that's secondary school, but I find that with dark academia, it's usually higher education, so university and college. So yeah, you've got the school institution, secret society. So again, yeah, secret society, I don't need to elaborate on that. And of course, some sort of murder or thriller theme, mystery going on. And yeah, so when I saw Piranesi, someone also said Knives Out. Nice Out is not dark academia. It has the aspect of mystery, but it hasn't got the school institution, and it's not set, you know, among a bunch of people who are in a secret society. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before I guess shared my TBR, just in case some people had conflicting views, and that's perfectly fine. But I guess this is what I would classify as dark academia. So let's get into it. So the first book on my TBR is Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. I have been waiting for this book. I mean, like 2 years now. If you don't know, Bloodmarked is the second book to the Legendborn series. Legendborn came out in 2020 and I absolutely loved it so much. I can't even, like, my love for that book just will never go away. So when I found out that there was going to be a second book, Bloodmarked, I was like, I have to get it. Like, I'm here for it. And I signed up for the pre-sale and it came like a week ago, I think, like November 8th. Yeah, that's like last week. And I'm so excited to read it. Like, I can't even express. So Bloodmarked follows our main character Bree, and I guess it picks up from what happened in Legendborn. Because it is a second book, I don't really know how to talk about it without giving spoilers to Legendborn. So if you haven't read Legendborn, I suggest you skip to this time frame, because I can't talk about this book without talking about what happened in Legendborn. As I was saying, so it says, all Bree wanted was to uncover the truth behind her mother's death, so she infiltrated the Legendborn Order, a secret society descended from King Arthur's knights, only to discover her own ancestral power. Now Bree has become someone new. A medium, a bloodcrafter, a scion. I am so excited to read this. I'm expecting to see, I guess, Bree taking down the secret society and trying to find Nick back. So that means a lot of moments with Bree and Selwyn, which I just can't wait to read. But of course, this book is dark academia based because it's literally set in an educational institution. You have the secret society, you have murders, it literally fits the dark academia theme, and I just can't wait to read this. I have one more book that I'm finishing and then I'm gonna go right into it, and I just can't wait. And if you haven't read Legendborn, please do it. It's one of the best books I've ever read. It's a YA fantasy and it reads so well. The first, I guess, quarter of the book can feel a bit hard to get through, but once you've hit through that, I guess, info dumping stage, it just takes you away. It takes you away. The next book I have is The Atlas 6. I've heard about this book so much on, like, just the book world, Bookstagram, Booktube. I'm not really a book talk, but I'm guessing it's on there as well. So it's a book about a secret society and these groups of magicians who are academics, and each decade the world's 6 most uniquely talented magicians are selected for initiation, and our main characters are selected and they possess their own magical ability, but only 5 will be initiated and 1 of them will be eliminated. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that means death. I don't know if that just means they're cast out of the magical world. I'm not sure, but it's giving all of the vibes that I need for this time period, and it sounds like a really interesting book, and I've only really heard good things about it, so hopefully it lives up to its, I guess, appeal. The third book I have on my list for my winter TBR is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I love Leigh Bardugo, most people love Leigh Bardugo, and it's about time that I've read one of her adult fictions. You could argue that Six of Crows is a young adult. You could argue that Six of Crows is an adult fantasy, but this one is specifically marketed as an adult fiction, so I'm trying to get into that realm more. I still love YA, but I'm not 16 anymore. There's only so many high school based books that I can read. So it's about this girl named Alex, and she goes to Yale, but she quickly drops out, I think within a year, and she ends up in a world of shady drug dealers, boyfriends, and dead-end jobs. So her life seems to be all over the place right now, but it seems to only get worse when she finds herself being the sole survivor of a horrific accident. And while she's in hospital, she gets offered a second chance at life to attend this really elite university. While she gets this new chance and joins this university, she finds herself in this really dark secret society that's kind of occultish, and at the meantime they're trying to solve what happened and what's connected to what, and how she's the only person who survived. Again, it's got that institutional educational setting, it's got the secret society, murder, mystery. So I am looking forward to reading this book out. And like I said, I love Lee Bardugo, so she's slowly becoming my favorite author. So I have high hopes for this book, and I hope I will not be disappointed. Water break. The next book I'm so excited to read for winter dark academia vibes is Ace of Spades. I just picked this book up from the library, and just the premise sounds really interesting. So of course it's set in an educational institution, and it's a private academy. Of course the people are wealthy, the students appear perfect. I guess it's that Gossip Girl-esque style of having students where everything seems prim and proper. Oh my gosh, it literally says Ace of Spades is Gossip Girl meets Get Out. I did not even notice that. So yeah, I guess it has that Gossip Girl-esque vibe to it. And it all seems great until an anonymous texter starts revealing dark secrets about two students. One of them is a talented musician called Devon, and the other one is a head girl called Chiamaka. And someone's out to get them both, someone who holds all the aces, and they're planning much more than a high school game. So I guess it is giving like Gossip Girl, Get Out, and I guess Pretty Little Liars with the anonymous texter, and I'm just so excited to read this book. It sounds really thought-provoking. Even though it is YA, I believe that it will, I guess, take those themes to the extreme. And again, I've only heard good things about this book, and it's written by a Black author, which I'm always happy to read about because there's just not enough in the YA fantasy. Is this fantasy? No, I don't think it's fantasy. Anyway, it sounds like a great book, and I'm excited to read it too. Like I said, I'm not on Book Talk, but I still get Book Talk videos on, Reels and YouTube Shorts. And this one has been everywhere, and I have to read this. I want to join. I don't want book FOMO. And that book is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This book came out a few years ago, I believe 2017, 2016. So it's really interesting to see how social media is, I guess, bringing back older books and making them popular, which is a whole discussion in itself. And one of those books is If We Were Villains. It says, a vivid and immersive story of obsession perfect for fans of dark academia and Donna Tartt's The Secret History. So from my understanding, it's about a character who has just been released from prison for apparently murdering one of his best friends, and it's not entirely certain whether or not he actually committed the crime. But either way, he served prison time for it, and now he's released. But because of the mystery surrounding the murder, this character, Oliver, the one who was put in prison, he wants to uncover what really happened 10 years ago when his friend passed away, or I guess when his friend was murdered. And through that, we get, I guess, backstories of their time in school. And this is so interesting. This is the part that really got to me. It's about these pretentious students who are studying Shakespeare in an elite arts school. And I know this is going to be so pretentious. Think about it, a bunch of wealthy students who are studying Shakespeare. I don't mean to judge anyone who's into that. That's great. I love Shakespeare, but I am ready for just the pretentious language and the characters. And that's what I want, kind of, I guess. Anyway, so during this school, Oliver noticed that his talented classmates seemed to play the same roles on stage and off: villain, hero, tyrant, temptress. And he felt doomed to always be a secondary character in someone else's story. But when the teachers changed up the casting, a good-natured rivalry turned ugly, and the plays spilled dangerously over into life. If you know Shakespeare, you know that he's famous for his tragedies, and I think this is kind of the tragedy of a Shakespearean play coming to life, which is a very interesting take. And I hope to read it as well. I will be reading it. I'm making this video to hold me accountable. And like I said, I've seen this all over social media, and I hope it's one of those book top books that are actually worth the hype. So I guess kind of segueing from that is The Secret Society by Donna Tartt. Again, it's very popular. People talk about it a lot. It's very similar to If We Were Villains. So we have this group of students at an elite institution who are into classics. That's their thing. And through this, they discover new ways of thinking, and I guess they try to really put themselves into this literature they love and their passion for classic books and authors. But I guess this book is also quite pretentious because they kind of see themselves as, I'm not like other human beings, I'm not like them, I read books and I live this life. I guess you could say they're living the dark academia aesthetic to the T, not just the aesthetic but the lifestyle. But through that they start to kind of break the boundaries of what this is, and somehow it turns sinister, and or is described here as their obsession turning into corruption, betrayal, and evil. So it's described as a mystery thriller, so I'm guessing maybe there's deaths. But again, if it's a dark academia aesthetic, an institution, not really, are they a secret society? But a group of specific people who are into classics, and there is thriller and mystery, which sums up the dark academia niche. And the last book I have, which I can't wait to read, is A Deadly Education. When I read the blurb and just what it's about, I was like, I have to read this book. It just sounds so interesting. So it's set in a school for people with magical abilities, but the catch is there's no teachers, there's no rules. It's not like a normal school, there's no holidays. And if you fail, you don't just get a bad grade, you don't get detention, you literally die. And you have to graduate, and if you don't graduate, you die. There's one rule people must follow, which is don't walk the halls alone and beware of the monsters who lurk everywhere. So this place, it's quite strange, whimsical, and dark until one character, Elle, starts to unlock its many secrets. She's more than aware of the school's dangers and things like that, but there's no allies in the school, so it's kind of up to her to work on her own to, I guess, break down the school and defeat these monsters. So she has this dark, powerful magic that can really drastically change the school, but with that comes the cost of potentially harming everyone else. So those are the books I plan to read for winter. I can't wait. I'm already in the Christmas theme. I know we just had Halloween, but I went straight into Christmas. I've watched 2 Christmas movies, the one with Lindsay Lohan, Falling for Christmas, and The Holidays. Yeah, I'm getting ready for Christmas decorations, and the tree will be up very soon. I just can't wait. But I would love to know if any of you have read these books or plan to read these books. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you next week.